There it is. Here we go.
Go.
Hey, y'all. It's Tony from Ropes and Wings. And I got Heather from Quantum Healing Within. I got Kaz from Journeying Soul Therapy. And we got Dody from Quantum Healing for Your Soul. And we're here again for another live Tuesday Talks. I hope you all are doing well because it's cold here in Tennessee and I'm freezing and I have 3 shirts on. So
it's cold.
Very cold.
On the other side of Tennessee as well, it's cold.
So I'm glad y'all are here. Let's go ahead, girls, and introduce yourselves and tell everybody where they can find you if this is their first time here. Let's go with Heather first.
Hello, my name is Heather Hink. I'm with Quantum Healing Within. You can find me at quantumhealingwithin.com, on Quantum Healing Within on YouTube, and all my social media handles are the same.
Kaz?
I am Kaz from Journeying Soul Therapy. I am based in Cambridge, UK. You can find me at journeyingsoultherapy.com, or YouTube is Journeying Soul Therapy.
And our guest, Dody Jones.
Yay!
Yes. Yay. Thank you for having me. So yes, I'm Dody Jones with Quantum Healing for Your Soul, and that's the website.com, and quantumhealingforyoursoul@gmail.com is my email. I don't have any social media under that. I do have a YouTube, Quantum Healing for Your Soul -Dody Jones. You can see some of my videos there. It's a new channel, not too old, started a couple months ago. So thank you for having me, guys.
Glad to have you.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's awesome to have you. We love our Tuesday Talks, and having you on here as a new guest is freaking awesome.
Extra special. Yeah.
Thank you.
And,
so fun.
And Kaz, we got it live this time. It's going.
You did. Not me.
I love you, sister. I love you.
We're going to have to figure that out, aren't we?
Yeah, I need help.
So annoying.
And thanks everybody for joining us that I see is in the chat. Thank you, Alice, for being my moderator. I really appreciate that.
Hi, Alice. How are you?
See her. Beautiful.
How is everybody? Everybody doing good?
There's
not bad.
Yeah.
Freaky dreams last night. Freaky energy.
Tony was driving erratically in your dreams.
A Range Rover. We had a mission. We had a mission to do.
He was a lunatic driver in my dream. And he was taking us down these hills, like 90-degree hills at 100 miles an hour, going, yeehaw!
we had a mission.
I woke up. My stomach was just going up into my throat in my dreams. I woke up.
I mean, it makes you wonder, was it actually a dream, or was it a parallel universe, a reality that was actually happening?
Well, our dreams. That's the next Tuesday Talks.
It was our other parallel life, and we had to get away from something, or we had a mission to carry out, is what was going on. And Kaz just couldn't handle the ride.
I couldn't handle it.
I couldn't get to sleep last night, so obviously I didn't show up.
There were other people in the car with me and Tony, but I was in the back and I couldn't tell you who the other people were. I was too scared. I didn't even look at them.
That's hilarious.
Didn't you say you pulled yourself out of the dream because you were like over it?
I did. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Awesome. Well, let's today we want to talk about getting back to the childhood self. But before we do that, let's talk to Dody Jones, because Dody has taken SCHH. I can't even say that for some reason. She's taken Soul Center and she's added a twist to it for her own, to improve it, to make it better, to make it awesome. But she's taken her sessions and done something different with it. So talk about that, Dody, and tell us about it.
Yes. So I have added an angelic healing at the end. So we do the entity release at the beginning, and then we do the past life journey, the higher self questions, do some more healing through there, the chakra rebuild. And then after all of the higher self questions are asked, I do an angelic healing, and it's really beautiful. So the client is laying there and I have them imagine white lights come up into the room, and so that they're completely protected. And then I bring in a golden light from the Lyran angelic realm, and it just comes in and just fills the room. I call in archangels from the north, the south, the east, and the west. And each time when I call them in, I face the direction. So I face north, I face south. And so I'm doing it as if they were here in the room, and I'm actually looking at all the locations. I bring in I have them imagine with their mind a golden flame coming up from the floor to the ceiling, then over the top of their body. And I do it from the north, the south, the east, and the west, and I connect it. And so they're surrounded by this flaming dome of golden angelic light. And the angels are there, and they provide healing to their body while they're under this healing dome of flaming golden light. And then I have crystals, and my crystals, I dug up these crystals myself. I went to a crystal mine, and so I've got these crystals. I have them imagine, I place them on my desk as if they were in my room, like at the top of the head, next to each hand and next to each foot, so that it makes a 5-point star. And I have my hand, and I'm touching them as if, they're right here. And I have them imagine the crystals light up, and they're surrounded by this energy and this healing light around the star. And then I have my rose quartz, and I place the rose quartz on my chest, and I have them imagine I'm placing it on their chest, and I hold it there. And I go through this whole healing session. And then after it's all over, then we say goodbye to all the angels, and they see the flame subside and the pillars of light subside. And then I ground them with a silver cord from their feet back into the earth grid. And then I count them out. And it's really beautiful.
Sounds
I've
beautiful.
got
Sounds
some
lovely.
I've got some really good feedback from it. A couple of people, one of them, the first time I tried it on somebody, just to see how is this going to work, she said the angels were high-fiving her as they were leaving. So it was like
Oh, I
pretty
love
cool.
that.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah.
I had a session yesterday, and we were talking about, I'm actually going to share it later, but we were talking about entities. This was another SCHH practitioner that I worked with, and we were talking about the power of the name Jesus Christ. If you have an entity that you are just in a little, not in fear, because they said, never be in fear, but you just don't know what to do, you can call out that name. But anyway, that proceeded into talking about the angels and their roles in our sessions. And her guidance just said how did they say it? They're just so honored to be a part of these sessions, and they're so grateful that we call upon them and we use them, and that they actually have more abilities that we're not taking advantage of. So
interesting.
they said they want, they want to be utilized. And one of her things that she was asking about was protection, because you kind of worry, I'm working with these entities and these different things, and can one just hop off of a client and hop on to me? And she does a lot of her sessions in person. So she wanted to make sure she was protected. But anyway, that was part of it, that the angels, they work to keep us very protected as we do this work, because we're sort of a team,
That's
physical and
awesome.
non-physical. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I use them quite often in my sessions, because they deliver. If I have an entity that's difficult, that not sure about leaving or going, the angels give them such incredible messages of what their journey can be like if they detach from the client, if they, what they look like after they do get alchemized back to the light that they're lost from. And it's always incredible vision and message. And I use them all the time. It's perfect. Kaz,
Nice.
what's your input on that?
Well, I did have a session with, I can't remember who it was. It was right at the beginning of my kind of practice sessions. And there was, I think it was like some dark magic on me or something. And I had to ask for Archangel Michael. And all I got was this vision of like an electrical being. That's the only way I could describe it, which I assume was him, like a massive blue electrical being. Which kind of brings us on to our grounding in a way.
Yeah, let's go. Let's talk about grounding. That's important.
Yeah.
We'll go with grounding.
And the
Who
fact
wants
that we're electrical beings. Will you like to do your analogy, Tony?
my spiel? I do it every Tuesday talks or something.
So you can't
It's a
miss.
good one.
So,
It's a good
well,
one.
one of the things, we want to talk about getting back to the childhood self, but another important issue that comes up in sessions all the time is the grounding. And the reason grounding is so, I mean, if you're new to grounding, and it's 111 right now, perfect. The reason grounding is so important is because we are electrical beings. The medical system wants you to think that you're mechanical. You're not mechanical. They can't cut shit out of you and make you better. They can't poison you and make things work again. It's electrical. It's an electrical system. It has to work. So we have to be grounded if we're an electrical system. So grounding to the earth, whether that's hugging cheese, hugging cheese.
Hugging cheese sounds good though.
It never works for me. I try, it never works.
Hugging trees, hugging trees or walking barefoot. That's grounding. So your body, it has, like electrical wiring, it has 3 wires. You have a neutral pole, which is your spine, runs up your spine, and then you have your positive and negative wires that run up, and it's shown in the medical caduceus as the snakes and the pole. So you get your negative and positive snakes that run across that pole, and where they cross is your chakra points. And if you have a kink or a blockage in any one of those points, the flow of energy doesn't work. You're out of balance. You can't heal. And then, ailments and disease start building up in that spot where the blockage is. And that's how soul center, that's how grounding works. We're grounded to earth. We're grounded to source. And we clear out in a session, we clear out the entities and the blockages that are there so that flow of energy can flow and the body can heal itself. The body is basically a new body every 7 years through cell replication. And so once we get that flow going, everything's beautiful and everything flows like water.
How
I
do you all
would-
like to ground then? What's your favorite ways?
Go ahead, Dody.
It's
Looking at Tony's boots there.
I love that.
my powwow boots. It's my moccasins. They ground, but go.
It's awesome. I need to get a pair of those. Get rid of the rubber-soled shoes. Well, I always like to go outside. Before every session, I go outside barefoot and I stand in the grass and call in my guides and ask for protection before each and every session. And then I go back out and I ground again and say thank you to all my guides and the angel for protection. So that's one thing. I sit outside as often as I can. I think that is so important, is just to be outside and to connect with the earth. But another way to ground that, because I'm like, what else can I do? Because the weather's going to be too cold, and when it's pouring down rain or it's snowing, you can't be outside, right? So something else that I found was really quite interesting is you could take your heart or your hand and put it over your heart, and then you connect with that heartbeat and feel the rhythm of the heart, and that will help ground you. And it's you become like, you realize you're part of the whole bigger cosmic rhythm out there, is what they say. So I'm like, oh, that's good. I'm going to start doing that. And another thing that you can do at the same time, they say put a drop of frankincense on the top of your head and then cover that with your hand and then just breathe that in. And that is supposed to also help with grounding.
Nice.
I thought that was interesting. Yeah.
Mm. So
Cass,
many
how do you
different
ground?
ways. Well, I mean, I'm always in my garden gardening and walking barefoot when weather permitting.
Right.
But I do love to have like a salt foot bath. I'm not a fan of baths.
I was about to say, I heard you say that in your group the other day, and I am a massive fan of the baths, but I think either way, when you are working with water and salt, that's very, very grounding. Do you feel like it just changes your energy?
Yeah. I really
Yeah.
do. Just getting my feet in a bowl of salt water.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I think just generally being in water
Water. Yeah.
anyway is good,
Yeah.
isn't it?
I will hear it when I start to feel anxious energy or just the energy's off or I'm feeling really low. It's almost like I start hearing in my head, just go take a bath, go take a bath, go take a bath. And I can get in feeling one way and I get out and I honestly feel like I'm a completely different person. And just what's come to me is the water is so clearing. So it doesn't matter how you use it. You can put it in a bath, you can shower it over you and set the intention that it's clearing your energy. You can do a foot bath, however it works, or however you like it. The salt is also of the earth, so that's grounding. Then if you throw some essential oils in there, that's going to shift the frequency of the water, and also crystals, though, any water safe crystals, you're changing the frequency of the water, which helps to shift your frequency. So yeah, those are probably my favorite go-to tools, especially in the winter when it's nice and cold.
Even for children, you can ground your children with those water tray tables, those where you put little manipulative toys and stuff in them and then let them play in those tables.
Are they
with
just
the
for
water.
kids?
Just for kids. Those water. Oh, I got it.
I love them.
Yeah, so that's a good way even to help ground your children.
What about you, Tony?
Well,
Apart from the
I got it.
powwow.
I got it easy out here because I'm in the middle of nature, and I do the same thing as Dody, is walking barefoot before and after a session and grounding. And the water thing, even I feel myself spinning out of control or getting irritated for no reason. Just simply going out and getting grounded in the grass is perfect. But that shower, because I'm like Kaz, I don't really like to take a bath, but a shower, just getting in the water to ground, it changes my whole mood. Like I'll be irritated and kind of grouchy to a way, but I go take a shower and right away I'm a different person when I come out. But just sitting in nature and just being and just, you got a double whammy. Go play in nature and be in nature and ground in nature, and it's perfect. It's beautiful.
Janine is asking in the chat, what do you think about grounding mats? I have one and my dog always wants to sleep on it. I've not used them personally, but I know people who have, and they put them under their desk when they're working and they say they're phenomenal. You guys used a grounding mat, or you can even get them. I've heard that they have them for your whole bed. Like you can sleep on one.
I sleep on a grounding sheet, and it's only on my side. My wife doesn't have one because she says it like shocks her.
Oh,
I'm like, there might be
sensitive to the energy.
Something wrong with you. You might have something you got to clear.
My daughter,
I want to do a session on her.
Yeah,
my daughter, when she picks up shungite, she can't hold shungite. It's too strong for her, and she has to put it down. So I've got the two, the shungite rods, and I hand them to her, and she puts them right back down. So she said it like shocks her. So maybe Ange is very sensitive to.
Right. Oh, that's awesome.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And there was, Alice asked, which is the best archangel to protect your equipment technology, please?
I use Zadkiel every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also ask Metatron to trace my internet connection to the source and remove any AI or low frequency energies that may be siphoning my internet connection. But I always ask for the two of them. I actually call on the two of them.
And they all can do it. But I use Metatron and Zadkiel all the time to, transmute AI to help guard the equipment. And so those two are great for that. Kaz?
I just imagine a bubble of light around all my equipment. I don't necessarily feel I have to call on anything. It's just, I believe it's just your intention is more powerful than anything else. So just imagining that bubble. You could even see the white light traveling down all the electrical wires. whatever works for
Yeah.
you.
And we are learning that in these sessions that it is important to protect your electronics and your equipment, because depending on what you're looking at and the vibration, you can open up portals and let some of these interesting things into your environment.
Yeah.
You got a good story on that, Heather, too, where you actually seen that in working with protections and how the pyramids and stuff like that work too, if you want to share that.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was, are we talking about with Lauren, the young girl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she just I worked with a 12-year-old girl, just amazing, with the ability to see all of these things that we talk about. You know, she's able to see them, and she can even see the dark energies on a person. So she could look at you and tell you where, when her mom came to me for a session, she already knew where all these things were because her daughter had seen them.
Wow.
So anyway, in that session that I worked with Lauren to help her to understand how to use her abilities and how to get the things out of her environment that were there because they were talking to her. You know, they were once I think they know that you can see them, they will try to communicate. And she had a couple in her environment that were wanting her to hurt herself. They were just saying things to her that weren't appropriate. Of course, what would be appropriate from an entity, I don't know. But anyway, we did bring in Archangel Michael to help clear, because he is who had come to her in the past to try and help her. So she felt comfortable with him. And he did clear out the house and placed protection over the house and helped her to understand how she could keep her space protected. And then after that session, her mom contacted me about a week later and said this entity, now the one that had been in the house, is now outside the house and cannot get in, and is very angry, and kept trying to get at the mom because now she had been removed from the home. So we ended up having another quick session and helping this entity cross into the light, which we didn't do in the first session. But it just showed the power of putting that protective light, the bubble of light, a pyramid, however you feel drawn to it. But once you start sort of setting that up, they can't get back in. And so that was pretty cool to actually see something that you put in place in a session actually working. So
Mhm.
I've been using the pyramid around my house all the time now, Heather, after that session.
Me too.
nothing's getting in that thing.
No, it feels pretty solid.
Love it.
Alice likes your Tuesday Talks photo behind you, Heather.
So
Or
do
Cass.
I.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was a bit of a saga. Because for the way I see it on Zoom, it's back to front, right? So last time we had the Tuesday Talks, I thought I did a practice and I looked at it. I was like, oh, it's all back to front. So I changed it all back to front for me, thinking it would then
Appear
and then
correctly.
Heather came up, she went, that sign's all back to front. And I was like, oh, sake. Thank you, Alice.
Kaz, are you having a bit of a dyslexic day today? What's going on?
Yeah.
It's okay.
Oh my goodness.
It's okay. What can you think of anything else that we need to talk about in grounding or protections that anybody wants to know? Or
I mean, there's other things that I do to ground, like just appreciate my food and eat it slowly, or just be in the moment with things rather than rushing. Just take time to touch things. That was quite rude. I don't mean it to be rude. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Savor the moments, I think works for me.
Mhm.
Just pausing. You know, if you're chopping carrots for your dinner, just appreciate what you're doing. Simple things.
so going blasted hell in a Range Rover down a steep slope is not a good idea.
That's not
for grounding.
grounding, Tony.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Oh.
That's so
Yeehaw.
funny. But anybody else want to talk about grounding or anything else that we need to add for that?
Good.
Let's.
I don't think so. No, I think most people know the basics by now, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Just
let's,
take care of your energy. That's just really just use that white light. That's all you've got to do.
I just
Simple.
wanted to say something that I found really quite interesting is studies that they have done on people before and after grounding, how it really changes the blood. You look at the blood before the grounding, it's all kind of like stuck together, the blood
oh
cells.
yeah.
And then after like what, 45 minutes of grounding, that it's just flowing just like a little river. Just it's amazing. It's so healthy for
Oh,
you.
that's incredible.
I don't even think it's 45 minutes, Dody. I think it's only a few minutes. It's not even that
Oh, really?
long, and it
Oh, okay,
actually
good.
reverses quickly.
Because there's times I'm like, I'm not spending enough time outside. So I'm glad I'm still getting the benefit of it. Yeah, I sit out there, I'm like, okay, thin the blood, unclot it.
I
Yeah.
think it reduces inflammation too, doesn't it? And reduces stress. And just, I mean, there's so many benefits to doing
So
it.
many health
So,
benefits, right?
yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, here's a question. How
Yeah.
would someone ground in a big city
Hmm.
with all those energies that are
Well, I think most cities have parks, right? Or somewhere where there's trees and
Trees. Touching a tree. When I go
Yeah.
on a hike, I touch a tree, like the trees behind Tony right now. I just, as I walk down the path, I just touch the trees and I talk to him as I walk by. So yeah, touching trees.
or a river you can jump in.
I would say bring some plants. There's plants that will help to ground the energy of your space. I would say get some crystals and place around your space that you can hold, some dark crystals that will help the energy. And essential oils are specific ones that are very grounding. Things like that. If you can't get out into nature, bring it into your home or your space.
And you could use things like grounding mat in the city too, like because the grounding mat it plugs into the ground wire of a plug, and that's how it works. So you don't have to actually be connected to the earth with that, because the electrical systems in buildings have to be grounded to the earth to work. So you could use a grounding mat as well. The other thing is too is concrete actually does ground a bit. So even walking barefoot on concrete, you would get some grounding from that. Just so you know, not as much as if you were walking on stone or the bare earth, but there is some grounding to concrete.
The past month
And possibly,
I've had,
okay.
sorry, no, that's okay.
No, go
Go
ahead.
on,
I
Dody,
was just
you're
gonna
our
say, get rid of,
guest.
yeah,
Do it.
thank you. Just getting rid of the rubber soled shoes. So the leather bottom shoes, like what Tony is wearing, those moccasin boots.
How well.
My powwow boots.
Yeah. So I think the rubber sole prevents you from receiving that grounding, that connection to the
any
surface of the earth.
any natural materials, leather, wool, cotton, is all grounding. So you could lay on a wool blanket in the middle of a park too, and that's still grounding.
I was just going to say, sorry, that I've had a cacao ceremony this month and a private gong bath, which
That's
were
amazing.
both very grounding also.
Yeah.
So you could find something near you, someone holding a class that does that kind of thing. I'm sure there's
Or
plenty in
even
your
just
city.
listening to something on YouTube, because there's lots of great videos that incorporate the sound bowls and binaural beats and the tuning forks and things. So just helping to shift your frequency. You could just listen to those.
And right there's one of them that's a grounding tuning fork. It's the ohm tuning fork, which is the resonant frequency of the earth too. So if you bang that and put that against the bony providence of your body, you can feel yourself just ground in.
Yeah.
So that's a good point. That was a good question.
So
That's a good
many
question.
ways. Yeah.
That was a good question. The biggest thing is getting to the park and getting around some trees. That'd be the best. So, well, let's talk about getting back to the childhood self. That comes up so many times in the session. It's grounding is important, which is one of the biggest things the guides say, the higher self says, is get grounded. The next thing, or one of the most important thing, is getting back to the childhood self, the childhood wonder and amazement that we used to have, just loving everything. And I had a client one time, it's kind of a funny story, but that's what he was told, was the higher self said that he had to get back to his childhood self, wonder and amazement. And that's kind of why we come up with this topic for Tuesday Talks this month. And I always ask a follow-up question, try to get some better clarity on how he can get back to that childhood self. And his higher self said, color in a coloring book.
That's
I'm
what
like,
I was going to say.
huh, that's
Yeah.
simple,
Yeah.
simple creativity.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to get one of those adult coloring books, with the markers and just fill in the, all the colors. And they're so beautiful, some of them. It's like, oh, and then get your creative mind going. That's part of that inner
Get
child.
loads of colored pens. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I want to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear
I'd
that
like
a
to
lot, artwork.
yeah.
Go ahead.
During my reading with Becca, one of my totem animals, came through and said, had a message, and I'm like, okay, what is it? To play more. That's what
Yeah.
I was told. I need to play more, and that is so important. I'm like, absolutely right. I don't do that enough, and so I try and do it as often as I can. And just the other day, last week was a nice late afternoon, and my husband's like, well, let's go to the golf course and go to the driving range. And because I had just recently got a set of golf clubs, so something I could do with my husband, as we're getting older in life and spending more time together now that our kids are gone. So just getting outside and having some fun. That's important. Just play more. That was one message.
I hear it a lot. I hear it a lot in sessions. It sounds so simple, doesn't it? But we just get so caught up in day-to-day life and all of the things. We just forget to have fun, to practice self-care. Goodness, we hear it over and over in sessions when clients ask certain questions, and the guides are like, just let go and get back to that younger version of you when you were having fun, when you were playing, dance, go run around outside, do something that you enjoy. Art is a big one too. You hear a lot about painting or anything that involves color, I feel like is also a frequency. You see different colors and they hold a frequency, and just like essential oils and crystals, I feel like color really helps to shift our vibration. So it's just important to find something that you love to do and try to incorporate it as often as possible.
I do, Tony and Heather know this, I do art lessons for homeschool kids on a Monday.
Oh, that's cool.
And A, I just love the art thing. And B, I just love being around those kids. I just love it so much. I come out of those lessons and I just feel like doing something really silly. Like I am a kid again.
That's awesome.
And it's funny because the house I teach in, they're opposite a park. And usually when I get there, there's like a you'd call it a preschool, we'd say nursery or whatever. And they're all out on the field, running around, making so much noise. I could just watch them, watching them play just lifts me up
just
as well.
Being around children, it's talking to them and getting when they're learning, when you're teaching them something. I love like the 4 and 5-year-old. That's my favorite age because their eyes get so big and they're so excited about learning something, and it makes you excited and happy, and just being around kids is joyful.
If you could just drop all the programming and just get involved in their world,
right?
It's a brilliant place to be.
And that's hard for us to do because we are just so heavily programmed. It's hard for us as adults to just go have fun like we used to and just get out and play in the woods, get out and do something, create, imagine. It's
be
hard
a
for
kid
us
again.
to be a kid.
Yep.
Well, we put everything else in front of that, don't we? We give
I love just
importance to all the other things.
Yeah, but it's so simple. I love going to the park. I don't know if anyone else does this, or the woods, or Tony, you must do this all the time. I look for really good sticks. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you do with sticks? What do you do with those sticks?
They just look good. Nothing. They just look nice, and you take them.
Do you have a stick pile? Do you have a pile?
Do.
We're going to have to see this pile of sticks of yours.
I do have a stick pile, yeah.
I look for rocks. I look
I would do the
pick up rocks. I'm like, look at that cool rock.
Me too.
The other
if
day,
I'm at the beach, I would look for pebbles, but yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, the other day, I think I found black tourmaline. It was just up in my
No
driveway.
way.
Yes, I'm like,
Really?
Oh, very
Wow.
cool.
I don't know for sure because I can't tell the difference. It's either
Yeah.
black onyx or black tourmaline. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, this is a mother lode. It was like a bunch of them right there. I'm like holding them in my hand. I'm like, it has to be. It's not coal. I know it's not coal. It's not, it's really hard rock. I'm like, wow, this is just the mother lode. I just found some awesome rocks.
That's cool.
It's
Yeah. Could you
amazing.
take it somewhere and get them to look at it for you?
I don't know who to take it to, but I'm
Yeah.
just I can put intention in anything. And so those things are just gonna be on display, just absorbing all the negative energy in my
Yeah.
house.
And they're magic as well.
Then they're magic.
Yeah.
I just found a pile of them just there on my driveway. I never noticed them before. They were just there. So
Love it.
perfect.
Awesome.
Mm.
Yeah.
I know inner child healing is a big part of the work that we do. When you're working with clients, oftentimes they've had an experience that happened when they were younger that really affected them in such a negative way that they've carried that throughout their lifetime. And really that energy of that is still coming up and affecting them. And just along the lines of this chat, even yesterday in the session that I did, we didn't really do inner child healing, but her guidance came through and talked to her about, letting go of some experiences that she had very early in life, even as a baby. It started, but that she could go back and heal that baby version of herself, that she could provide that version of herself all of the love that it needs. We do this in sessions where we help people to heal that inner child, and there's so many amazing ways. But this is something that anybody can do. You don't have to be in a session. Whatever it is that's coming up that may be connected to something that happens very early in life, you can visualize that version of you as a baby, as a young child, and you can talk to that version. You can hug that version. You can love on that part of you that didn't receive that love or felt neglected or whatever it was. And you can tell that part of you that it's safe, that everything turned out okay, that it made it through whatever that trying time was, and just begin to heal that part of you. You can just do that work on yourself. That's what the higher guidance came in and said. You love on that baby. Don't worry that baby wasn't loved on as much. You can go back and love on that part of yourself and then reintegrate, pull that part back in, because it's okay to, really let that experience go.
And let them know it's not their fault.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm.
Beautiful.
For me, it goes back to memories that they have no memory of, if that makes sense. It doesn't come back to you till you're in a session. And what I've been told is you can go back to any memory just in your mind and go through your timeline and send light into every memory that kind of was painful, or, it doesn't bring particularly good feelings. Just go back and send white light into all of it. You can work your way up the timeline.
Yeah.
Interesting. Beautiful.
That white light is magical, isn't it?
Mm. Yeah. Tony, you must have a few.
Well, that's what I usually do if there's a child trauma or traumatic memory from our childhood, is just flooding that scene with white light and actually changing the outcome. I think since we are in parallel and the time doesn't exist, I think we're actually affecting that part of our past as well. If it's all happening in a now moment, when we're flooding that memory with that good light, that white light, and changing that memory to be the outcome we wanted, I think we're actually changing it. I really think we're that powerful.
Absolutely.
And I think if we heal a lot of the childhood traumas that we've all experienced, we would be more apt to get back to that childhood wonder and amazement, because those traumatic experiences that we probably don't remember, but they're affecting us, and how you don't want to play anymore or do things because you have all these adult things to do. But if we healed those traumas that we experienced, I think we'll see it open up, the flow open up, will become brighter, and it'll be more beautiful.
What you can do also is you can write like letters to your inner child. Just that might be something that's helpful. Maybe journal
That's a great
about
idea.
special memories of your childhood or something like that. Yeah, that'd be good.
Well, and my wife had done that to a grandparent that didn't treat her very nice as a child, and she had actually wrote the letter to her, didn't send it to her, and just burned it, and just let
There you go.
it released it that way.
Yeah.
So it was a good idea to heal that trauma for her,
That
especially.
came through yesterday, trying to help her to understand how she could release some of the negative feelings that she had been holding. And her guidance brought through exercise and moving the body is so important. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but just movement. Dance, dance is one way that you can not only release energy, but you can tap into that inner child, and you can have fun and be silly. But they were talking a lot. They brought it up several times throughout her session. The movement will help to get the energy up and out of the body, the trauma. But journaling, they also said, write all that stuff down that is in your head and that overwhelms you, and then have a little burning ceremony and release it. Kind of like when we're in sessions. I think, Kaz, this is one that you shared, and then I think Tony and I started using it because it works really well with the box.
I love to use the box.
Putting things in the box and then
almost like your actual ceremony, physical ceremony, where you write everything down and burn it. You just imagine you're doing it. You don't have to necessarily do it for real. Just your intention, again, putting everything in this box in your mind and just letting it go. But burning.
I used it, and I think we both did get it from Kaz, is you use the burning box all the time. I used to use a balloon and just let the balloon release, but I like the burning box better.
I like the burning box too.
I guess it depends on what situation I'm in, whether I use the balloon release or use the box release, or burning. So like mostly childhood traumas, like the releasing the balloon and let the childhood self just let that balloon float off into the nethers instead of burning it.
Yeah, just putting all of that emotion in the balloon or the box.
Just letting it all go.
And
Amy Boyd is making apple chips. Now, who doesn't love apple chips?
Could we have some? Those sound
send
delicious.
some apple chips. That brings me back to a childhood
smell-o-vision.
Smell-o-vision.
Taste-o-vision.
That brings me back
there you
to some
go, even better.
good childhood memories with apple chips and banana chips too. My grandma used to always make banana chips. They weren't as good as apple chips though.
You mean crisps, right?
Oh yeah, I
call
guess
it chips
crisps.
over here.
Chips.
We're always arguing about the way we say things. I say everything over there sounds better than the way we say it over here anyway. So
we don't argue, we just discuss.
No, we don't argue. We just say it differently.
Oh, that's funny. So
well, I hope Amy is just grounding over and savoring those chips.
She's taken an online culinary class and she's making apple chips. So that's perfect.
Done.
Very grounding.
She's a multitasking genius, I guess. She's watching our show, taking a culinary class and making apple chips.
She's multidimensional.
That's perfect. But we all can do that.
Yeah.
So some other ways to get back to our childhood self is just building forts again. Go out in the woods and build forts. Building blanket forts.
Blanket forts.
We'll go have a camp out in Tony's teepee.
Oh yes, and a teepee. I mean, I have the perfect childhood dream. I have a big teepee.
That's you've built that. What you have, the fun is in the making of it, right?
Right. Now it's no fun anymore. It's just there. already built. So now I'm making a bow, so I'm making a Comanche bow, so I can go around shooting things now with my bow. That's my childhood
There you
wonder and
go.
amazement. That's
See,
how I
Heather,
collect sticks.
Heather would want to come in and take your teepee and make it one of those fancy teepees with, like you see for the parties. I'm sorry. That's what
It
I
would be a
do.
glam,
With
a
the
glam
It would be
chandelier
teepee.
hanging.
a glampy. That doesn't even sound right. I'm
Glampy.
sorry.
No, it doesn't, but we know what you mean.
Hey, they do have. I was looking on Tony's side of Tennessee. It's like a glamping park with these really interesting dome-shaped. I wouldn't even call them like you're camping, but that's what they're calling it. I'm like, this looks amazing, but the cost is like super up there, but they're beautiful. Dome shapes, which that circular shape is probably a really good energy space to be in, that circular shape. But yeah, it looks really fun. Maybe one day I'll go
I took the
glamping.
boys camping was it last year, maybe the year before? I can't remember. It was a teepee, Heather, but it had like a wood burning stove, a double bed, loads of rugs. It was lovely.
Oh, I love it.
It wasn't
fun.
glam, but it was comfortable.
It was Was it posh? Was it posh?
It was, yeah, not posh. I am in Cambridge, darling.
Oh, sorry.
There's different levels of posh.
Well, the TP shape and the size of the structure, that goes back to grounding too, with the geometric shape and pattern, because that shape it's actually like acupuncture for the earth, because it channels and funnels that energy in a way that creates healing, and that's amazing energy inside that TP.
Yeah.
And same goes
Have
for
you
your
slept in
too.
it yet? Sorry, have you slept in it yet, Tony?
No, I haven't. I've been
Oh,
so
I'm
busy.
surprised.
I know. I'm kicking myself for not doing it. I also have a kayak that I haven't used yet too, but so my days off, like last weekend, I was fixing that ram pump, so I didn't get a chance to do anything like that. And
That's sad.
the weekend prior, I was putting fire lines in, so I've just been busy. So one of these days.
So
it's frigid cold.
I was thinking along the lines of getting back to the inner child, to get, I think, back to that inner child where we can play and have fun. The more healing that we can do on ourselves to help release some of that trauma and energy is very important. And I just want to share something that I've sort of been going through, been working on more and more when I have something come up and it's an intense emotion. I get upset about something, I get my feelings hurt, or something triggers me, and how you can work through it on your own. And one of the ways that I do that is I start to ask a lot of questions. So something will come up, I'll start feeling some emotion, I'll get mad at somebody. And instead of stewing or letting it fester, I start asking questions like, what is this experience trying to show me? What do I need to learn from this? What is this trying to teach me? And a lot of times I'll ask myself, what is it that's wounded inside of me or unhealed that this situation is triggering? Because a lot of times we get triggered by someone else or by a situation when there's something unhealed within us. And so you can sort of travel back to figure out what that is simply by asking those questions. And sometimes you have to keep asking and keep asking. It's not just going to come to you right away. But I'll just keep asking myself, okay, what's going on? What is this trying to show me? How do I need to release it? Instead of staying in the mindset of this person made me angry or they did this to me, because it's so easy. It's so easy to direct that at somebody else. Really, what we find, or what I found in these sessions, is that a lot of time people are mirror reflections for us. So when you're getting angry at something that they're saying or doing, it's a lot of times it's like that person is trying to mirror something back at you that you need to see. in order to try to bring that energy up for healing and to release that. So just, you can do that inner child healing and help that energy to release simply by asking yourself, what is the situation trying to show me or teach me? How can I let this go? And that'll help you to move past it a little bit quicker instead of getting stuck in it.
Don't let them take your power.
No.
Yeah.
Let 'em
I
guide you.
totally agree, Heather, because when you do that, you're well, there's two sides to this, isn't there? Because if you react badly to somebody, then of course you need to kind of look within. But if they're just reacting badly to you, I'm sorry, you need to put some boundaries up there as well.
Oh yeah, no, and I mean there's all sorts of situations, but I mean the ones where I'm kind
Where
of
you
going,
get reactive.
okay, yeah, and I'm like, all right, do you want to go down that path? No, I
Mm.
know people can be really crappy too as well, but
Yeah,
those situations where you get so much in your head
that it's you.
that you spiral out of control. So I start asking myself the questions, because a lot of times I can trace it back to things that happened in childhood. Feeling rejected, feeling unheard or unseen. And that's helped me a lot. And I know there's all kinds of situations. Those are just some of the things lately when I find myself getting triggered. And I think, well, that really shouldn't bother you as much as it does. Like before, I think before I started my healing path, oh, this Aries would get all kinds of worked up and the energy is flying out of my head. And, I've learned how to go within a little bit more to try to see what I need to work on so that those things don't have so much of a charge.
Yeah, just practice, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
But maybe we should talk about boundaries and putting boundaries up too.
Yeah, that's great.
A little bit, because sometimes, well, I know I tend to just take a load of crap off people, and I really need to learn to put some boundaries up. That's my issue. I'm kind of like the opposite of you. I just take everyone's stuff, and I've been having to practice just to say no.
Yeah.
I've had to do that. To not let them drain my energy, don't let them take my power. It's just like, okay, that's their issue, and then I have to move on. Otherwise you just take it all in, and you can't. You're human, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is okay to say no.
Sometimes you have to.
I struggled with that too, but now I can do it a little bit better. Boundaries are hard to put up sometimes, when you worry about hurting someone else's feeling. And that's me. I'm always worried about hurting someone else's feelings or how they're going to feel or how they're going to respond. And I've gotten a little bit better with that, I can say.
I've had to learn to not let them take up residency in my head. I always worried too much about what they would think or whatnot. And I had to learn to don't let them live in my head and move on. That's their problem. They have something they need to deal with too. It's not you.
Yeah.
Well, let's give some good examples of setting up boundaries. I mean, that's a hard thing because you're always trying to, I'm always trying to help people. We're always, sucking up everybody else's energy. And what's a good way that we can set up boundaries to protect from that?
I mean, for me, it's just not letting people take their own personal stuff out on me, which I found people do a lot of. If you have the ears to listen and you're someone that people always come to, which I am, they kind of take advantage of that. And sometimes you just have to say, look, I'm sorry, I can't deal with this today, or I'll talk to you another time when you're a bit calmer, or, just find a nice way to say, not right now. Thank you very much.
And do you think that's because of do you feel empathic? Do you feel like that's the empathic part or nature of us, that we just sort of absorb and pull in and attract sometimes those negative?
I definitely attract people that want to share their issues with me.
Yeah.
I always have. And it's okay sometimes when you feel like you can handle it, but other times you've got a lot going on too, and it's too much.
Yeah. Alice says saying no is self-care. Absolutely.
Dody, what do you use?
Not right now. We'll talk about this when you've calmed down. No, I don't have I don't know anybody where I live because I'm new in this area. And so, people that, all my friends are still back in California. So any communication is, through this device here. So that's pretty easy. So my face-to-face contact is just with my family. And so like if my oldest son, he can be kind of dramatic, I would say. And I just have to tell him, take a deep breath. And I just try and help him calm himself down. And then we'll work it out. Yeah. And then with my husband, because I'm awake and he's asleep, and there's some topics of conversation we just can't have. And so I'm like, okay, it was, I'll be like, let's change the subject, or I'm not going to talk about this right now. I just have to tell him I'm not going to have this conversation with you right now. And that'll be it. I'll leave the room or something, go outside, go ground.
Yeah. So walking away, or, when you feel that energy is getting out of that situation too. I mean, even being out in public, when you start feeling that drain on your energy is just getting out of there, I think is probably really important.
And find your breath as well.
Yeah.
Like just like you would say to your son, it's sometimes I just have to let Kaz just take a deep breath.
Yeah.
And
Perfect.
focus on that breath. Yeah.
Yeah.
And not giving a shit what anybody else thinks about you. That's the most important, I think.
That's a hard one sometimes.
Yeah. I'm
I
still dealing
struggle.
with that. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
everybody I know I've only know a couple people who are awake. And so it's like, I feel like I can't have a conversation with sleepy people.
Yeah.
And that's
So it's
okay.
hard.
We don't need them. This is like when the boundaries come up now for me. I'm just like, just don't need it.
Yeah. It's perfect.
Yeah, you have to go through that too. That's been a big learning thing for me. When you start doing this work and you create the videos and you put the videos out, and then there's always a little bit of that. What are people going to think? What are they going to say? Are they going to come back and have negative comments, positive? And, the occasional negative comment can really throw you a little bit, and it can start questioning. For me, it makes me start questioning things. Then I have to bring myself back and say, I am here to do what what's on my path and what I'm here to do. And it's not going to resonate with everybody, and that's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's not letting those comments make you feel like you're doing something wrong, or, you just got to stay in your heart and keep going. Just keep going.
They'll wake up someday.
Yeah.
Yeah. People you can't force anybody to do anything. It's just a waste of your energy. This is what I've come to terms with, and that's fine. Because we've got each other, haven't we, guys?
just like Alice just got us there. Thank you, Alice.
Thank you, Alice. I saw him too. We had some adult sight.
Just pop up. Thank you, Alice. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Alice. I think we were all over there clicking, going, stop it.
This happens on your thing, Tony. You can't put
Tony.
blocks up, can't you?
It's because he drives like a mad
in a Range Rover
person.
Yeah.
Alice had a good point there a while back too. Is she found understanding her parents' childhood can help too. It's negative cycle for all of us to break, and it helps in the future. I think we all are here to break that cycle.
Break the ancestral trauma.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's a great point. That is one of the things that I love in these sessions, because I feel like we're connecting in the quantum space. In that quantum space, you can connect with your guides, your whoever, but you can also understand things at such a deeper level. So when a person comes in and they have had a very difficult childhood with their parents, weren't treated well, whatever the case may be, a lot of times we can connect in and get a deep, deep understanding of what the parent may have experienced in their life. It doesn't fix what they experience, but it helps the client sometimes to understand the trauma and the suffering that that parent had gone through, because that information will come through, whether it's coming from their guidance or however they're getting it, their higher self that knows. But we can see the path of that parent and what they experienced, and the higher self can even help us to understand that there's entities and attachments on them that are controlling them. So it helps you a little bit to understand that maybe your parents were also suffering in a way that you can't understand, and that created them becoming who they ended up becoming in life.
And we've talked about this so much with Laura on previous shows. The whole system is set up to traumatize us. And it's kind of like we've had enough now, haven't we?
Yep.
Had enough of it. So it needs to end. And this is the lifetime we end it, or at least begin to heal it properly.
I'm just excited to be a part of it.
We're glad to have you.
Yeah.
So, well, there was one session where a client went back to a childhood memory where at an old house, family sitting around the table, he always thought that, mom and dad didn't have much fun and things like that. So it was a lot of negative experience for him as a child. And we actually flooded that scene with white light and actually changed that scene for him. So it was what he would want to see, where they were, happy and joking around the table instead of being worried about money and issues of the 3D time, which actually changed. I really do think it changes all down the line and affects that line too as well. And I mean, we're
It changes the now because it's all happening at the same time, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I think it does change it. I think it even changes it for the parents as well. I think we're affecting the whole line when we stop it right now and stop the cycle.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's
agree.
beautiful. I think it's beautiful.
I'm done with it. Some of these sessions I find myself getting really frustrated when I see what the client has gone through their entire life. And then you've got the traumas from this life, you've got the traumas from past lives, you've got the entities and the attachments. It's levels and levels and layers and layers. And sometimes I come out of these sessions and I just want to throw a bit of a temper tantrum at why is this world like this? Like, who started this out? How do we get here to where it's like some people are just really fighting an uphill battle their entire life.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's another Tuesday talk. That's deep, Heather.
It's a whole, I'm sorry.
It is. No,
but if we started talking about that, we'd go on another.
I know.
Another hour, half of that.
It is. Yeah, I could talk about a session last week but I'm not going to go there. It was just a deep one. And it really caused me to go into that feeling very angry and frustrated at
I get
the way
too.
that this world is and has been.
What I want to know is when we do all this healing and we add all this light and we change the whole atmosphere of this childhood memory or the scene, are we then going to have a Mandela effect from that because it's a parallel life? That's kind of something I'm kind of curious to hear about if anybody's experienced that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a possibility. If we're changing things in the past now, well, it works in the reverse too.
Yeah.
Right. So you no longer have that memory anymore. It's gone. We healed it. It didn't happen. You don't have that feeling. You didn't have that feeling back then anymore. We healed it. It's done. It's gone.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty deep.
Yeah.
I don't know if we could. I don't even know if we can answer it.
No.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, we can't answer it really because we don't really know it's possible, for sure.
Yeah.
And the brightest lights are usually the ones that suffer the most trauma too. The ones that are the highest frequency, the brightest lights, the most things to do or give. But yeah, that needs to be we need to, that we'll just come up with a topic for next Tuesday Talks discussion on that. What's the topic going to be?
It's on Heather's channel. We'll just call it
Oh,
deep
We got-
shit.
Deep shit.
I'm not sure.
Maybe not.
Deep shit and dick demons.
Tony took it too far.
Yep. See,
That's going to be on the late night version of Tuesday Talks.
Yeah.
It's too early to go there.
yeah, it's true. True.
Yeah.
Well, does anybody have anything else that they want to talk about or questions that need answered?
I mean, I'm good. I think just being present a lot of the time is the best solution to lots of things. If you feel overwhelmed or, a grounding and just being present. That's how I would want to end it.
Mm-hmm. Dody, any final thoughts?
Anything else to tap into the inner child? Looking at old photos, memories from your child could help bring up that inner child. Just engage in laughter, even meditating.
Yeah.
No, I think just try and have more fun.
Mhm.
Just try and find ways to be silly and goofy and have
laugh.
fun. Laugh. Laughter it will change your energy. I do so many silly things around here. My kids think I'm nuts, but we have so much fun. And, that's just my way of trying to tap back into my own inner child.
I just did a video. I put out a portion of a session that I had done where it was just like hilarious and I was laughing. And I talk about how laughter is contagious. If you're sitting out in public and you see people laughing, it makes you smile and you're like, what are they? And they're like cracking up and just carrying on and, really hard belly laughing. It makes you laugh too. It's contagious. So laughter really raises your vibration. It's so important just to laugh every day, just to keep your vibration high and the vibration high of others around you.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Send each other silly songs.
Yeah. I have a hard time being serious sometimes. I laugh a lot.
I think my husband must have been a comedian in another life.
Right.
Him and my son are like just got that quick wit about them. It's funny. They'll play off of each other and it's hilarious.
I just laugh at serious stuff that I should be serious about, but I just find it funny. I find it's funny and I can't help it. I don't know why. I don't want to be serious anymore.
No, it's boring.
Absolutely.
And too stressful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Boring and stressful. Don't need it.
So dance, get out and play in the woods, build forts,
Color,
get grounded in nature, paint,
sing,
create, sing, do all this stuff that we
cook
used
apple
to do.
chips.
Cook apple chips. And the best thing was she was cooking them with her grandson because her grandson was taking a culinary arts class or something. So
just teach your kids to cook.
Spend time
cook
with
with
children.
Family. Yeah. Spend time with kids. Yeah.
That's one thing that I look back on and probably regret most of, because my daughter just turned 18 and I regret that I did not spend, and really couldn't because we were working constantly to make money to live and survive. But I feel guilty. I mean, I don't feel guilty because it is what it is, but it's past now. I can't change it, but not spending enough time with them, being goofy, having fun. And, before it was just programming before you do the dad thing where you're standing off in the distance. Oh, that's good, honey. That's great. Instead of getting involved with them like I should have. And
But you know what? They're still your kids. It's not too
never
late.
too late.
That's
what I was thinking.
Yeah. And you think about it when they were really little. If you go back to your memories when you're really, really little, you don't remember being around your parents. I don't remember when I was quite young. So when you're older, that's when you create those memories that they will have and they won't forget.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's never too late.
That's very, very true. Very true. Good point, Dody. Good point.
Never too late.
So, well, I think we can wrap it up. What do you think?
Yeah, thank you, Tony.
Excellent. Well,
Yeah,
I want to
thank-
thank everybody for joining us today. And we're going to have another Tuesday talk. We're going to do this every month. We're going to do a Tuesday talks every month. We'll come up with another topic and have that. I have everybody's links to their websites, YouTube, all that stuff in the description. So if you want to find any of these lovely ladies to schedule a session, absolutely do it. I know, Kaz, you were running some specials this month. Is that right?
November and December, if you it was on my last video or 2 videos ago, you'd have to click underneath to get the offer link, but
Okay. Oh, so the offer's not good anymore?
the offer is good, but not on the link on my website. It's like a hidden link, so maybe I can send it to you, Tony, and you can put it underneath this as well.
I'll put it under here. So it's everybody else. Tell everybody where they could find you, and we'll wrap up today's Tuesday talks. So go ahead,
Go
Kaz,
Dody. Oh.
or
Oh, go
whichever.
ahead, Kaz.
So yeah, you can find me at journeyingsoultherapy.com or Journeying Soul Therapy on YouTube. I'm also on Telegram and TikTok. And actually Twitter, but I never really use that. So yeah, any of those.
And-
Go Dody.
Okay, quantumhealingforyoursoul.com. My email, quantumhealingforyoursoul@gmail.com. And I have offered some free sessions just if I can use the video to make some YouTube channels, and I'll do sessions for donations right now. I'm just wanting to do some sessions. So contact me and I'll help you out.
Oh, nice. Wonderful. I am Quantum Healing Within. I was about to say Quantum Soul Healing Within. I'm just going to add some extra words into mine. quantumhealingwithin.com to book a session, Quantum Healing Within to watch session videos and to learn more about me. And then I also have a new members portal, which is Quantum Soul Portal. Did I get that one right? That one's new.
Yep.
So I'm trying to get used to it, which is just a monthly membership where we do different healing meditations and are creating an online community. So you can check me out there.
You want me to do the voice for that, Heather?
Yeah. do
Yes,
it.
please.
What? Quantum Soul Portal.
I started when I was telling them about that. I just got silly one day and I was like, I'm working on the Quantum Soul Portal. And so then every time I said it, I had to say it
You
that
have
way.
to say it like
'cause,
that.
Yeah.
This,
What are you
got
working
it.
on today? I'm working on the Quantum Soul Portal.
We need like a voice effect just to take you even deeper.
I know. I
See,
need
that
a
works.
man's voice.
The Quantum Soul Portal.
Can you
There you-
get
I'm just
voice
gonna get you
effects on
to-
here?
Can you? What?
Can you get voice effects on Zoom?
To
I
make
don't-
I
us
don't think
sound
we can.
different.
No, I don't think so.
Damn.
It might be
That might get
something.
dangerous.
Yeah, you
Because we
might
could
want to.
get you a little avatar, Heather, too, like one of the little animals, and change your voice and stuff.
I'm down with it. I just want to be like a little fairy or something. So
Yeah.
That's funny.
wings, something over my head,
Perfect.
and then
I
I'll
love
have a
that.
deep voice. The Quantum Soul Portal.
Fairy.
Oh my God. See, laughter's the key.
There you
Laughter's the
go.
key.
There you go.
So thank you all for joining us.
Yes.
Thank
I'm,
you.
I'm Tony
Thank
from
you,
Ropes and
Dody.
Wings. And
Thank you for having me.
thank you,
Mhm.
Dody, for joining. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
This was fun.
I love you all. And we'll see you on the next time.
Bye,
Love
guys.
y'all.
Thank you for
Bye.
joining us. See you
Bye,
next
everybody.
time.